What's up? It's your boy Random Randy Savage with Colt 45. Alright, let's see. I'm going to do another one of these. And if it looks like I'm just out of my mind, probably close to accurate right now. Anyway, the guys did an episode about Lunopolis. Here, watch this.
Just because of what was in the Polaroid, because the guy that was in the Polaroid, the subject in the picture,
that guy was so weird.
A very weird looking individual.
Unlike anybody I'd ever seen. This guy was, he was in modern dress, he was bald, he had a blank, vacant expression on his face, sunken in, very weird looking guy. But the thing is, it was a very old book, very old picture, but he's in modern day clothes. The whole situation seemed like present day, but it was...
So, by the IMDb page or wherever you can find it, it's about two documentary filmmakers who stumble upon a great secret. That's enough, right? Let's go ahead and get into the tallies.
That body count. That body count.
So on the body count, I am unsure. Like, if you've heard, sometimes the numbers don't make sense. Like with Batman and Robin, it was like 11 million because how do you survive freezing process? Or with like Cabin in the Woods, everybody gone. But this one, question mark is what I'll use because I don't know. Nobody really died. But I don't know. Alright. That brings us to our favorite subject, the nudity. Let's get skin deep.
Titties. Right now.
Zero. I saw it 0. No boobies, no nothing. It's a documentary. I expected as much. Alright. Let's go ahead and get to our favorite character, the guy who gets our coveted Joe Grizzly Award.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this to David. Because the movie had some... Yeah. David brought the story. If this was a cookout, David's the guy who shows up with a smoker, right? That's filled with a bunch of stuff. Yeah, he's my guy. Alright, well that brings us to our final verdict. So, right off the bat, I don't like documentaries, guys. I have great respect for it though, as a filmmaking art and as a journalistic technique. It is something you definitely should use. If done well, it looks amazing and sometimes it's even more interesting. That being said, it's also, I feel like it's kind of like a cop-out, you know? It's like the found footage thing you get with a lot of independent filmmakers. That way they don't have to spend a lot of money on lights, they don't have to spend a lot of money on effects. Things just kind of happen on the happenstance. I will give credit where credit's due. This movie, as an independent film, is really well done. Very well done. And it has a very interesting storyline. Very interesting storyline. It had a lot of potential to go a lot of different places. It did not. And it's fine because budget constraints, things like that. It spent 30 minutes of its time trying to get me invested into a lore that meant nothing at the end. And I was just like, you 30 minutes. This movie could have been an hour long, but you spent 30 minutes explaining to me the histories and stuff that I didn't care, that didn't make any, that doesn't add anything to it. Like, I get, okay, yeah, that in the grander scheme of things, without this, you'd be asking, well, why did you, what, this and that, and this, but again, I was like, I got all of that. I knew. And the Joker is like, okay, full on spoilers, right? It's a time travel movie. It's a paradox time travel movie. Which means like 12 Monkeys or fucking, there's a movie called, I think, Time Machine or something like that. Or Primal or Pi. It's like the guy who goes back in time has to do the thing that has to happen, no matter what happens. Or Terminator Terminator 3. It's like, no matter what happens next, what happens between the time the Terminator shows up and the time the Terminator gets created, nothing changes. The timeline stays consistent. That's it. And it's like, it's Avengers timeline. So like, you can't change the past, and because you've already lived it. And every time you try, it's a new future that you're reaching, which means the past that was your old future doesn't exist anymore. And I was like, I don't like those versions, right? Because where's the free will? Where's the destiny? Where's the ability to change things? It's like, man, I like Back to the Future. If you're fucking with time in the past, then things are going to get wonky towards the future. And then that changes the whole timeline, which changes gradually. Things change. But as long as the things stay the same, like, I guess that's the same version of time travel, but things can change for the better eventually. That was the hope of the whole time travelers of it all. But this movie starts off with a weird anomaly. The anomaly brings the guys to this certain thing, right? This certain thing ends up being a time machine. They investigate the time machine. Everyone who investigates the time machine ends up getting taken or destroyed, or somebody gets killed in a car accident. Okay, that's interesting. And you meet this one guy, David, who apparently knows everything, but he doesn't know where the time machine comes from. He knows everything else, but he didn't know where the time machine comes from. And then and then later it's like, well, you gotta get the crystal of San Laganza to David, or to the leader of the, spoiler, to the leader of the church of blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that seems like something you can waste 30 minutes on. Problem is, they go 30 minutes into explaining a fake Elon Hubbard type guy, the Scientology of it all. Like, you could have just used, I guess if you don't want to get sued, you don't use that guy, but like, it's such like if I'm gonna make a guy whose name is like Joseph Christ, and I'm like, yeah, it's not the same, right? It's not the same guy. But so they meet the head of the church, and it's fucking David. But it's the David from this time, the guy who hasn't become an immortal deity he hasn't become the Rick Sanchez of the universe. He hasn't become an all-knowing, all-thinkable, powerful demon. It's the guy who showed up and who knew everything, but it's like, I'm here to kill you because I want to die, because I'm immortal. And I'm like, why did you make yourself immortal if you knew you were going to hate it? Like, just think about it. Like, I have told people several times before, it's like, if you could live for forever, would you want to? It's like, no. Because everyone that you love would die. Everything around you would die. You would be the last. I've seen enough Doctor Who and like gods just mourning the death of mortals to know that that's not something I would want. So I wouldn't try for it. And it's like, why would you just tell you before you made that choice to not make that choice? Changes the timeline. But it's like, no, I have to kill the guy. It's like, but why? Choices are just as powerful as bullets, apparently. You can literally make a choice that could change the course of history. And it's, I don't know. I'm focusing on the wrong thing. But then anyway, David ends up shooting the guy. And like, the paradox creates this weird anomaly that somebody captures. And then the whole thing starts over. That being said, independent film, really interesting. I got bogged down in the middle. I'm sorry. I was interested. I had literally been trying to watch this movie for the last 2 weeks. We wanted to try to watch this movie for 2 weeks now. And I wanted to sit down and actually watch it. And I was like, okay, well, watch it. I really hated them for that 30 minutes that they wasted just doing nothing. But I understand it. I understand why they did it. Because when you're stuck in that second act black hole, you have to fill it with something. And it's like, okay, fill it with this. Fill it with this information, the story of Elon Hubbard or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Use that. Use a real person's life to fill in this gap so that way you can use it later for some other nonsensical BS. It's still good though. That's the problem, right? It's still good. It ain't too knee pad worthy, but it's one. It's gonna get one. I don't want to even say barely. It's definitely getting a solid one because it's just like I wasn't disappointed, but I totally saw where they were going. So like, I'm not mad. I'm just kind of disappointed. Like, I feel like it could have been a little better. But mostly, like, I've been so spoiled lately. Like, VHS spoiled me for found footage movies because I was like, oh, look what they did. Look how invested and interested I was in this movie. And I get another found footage movie and I'm like, not so much. You know, I get it. I'm like impressed. Some of the effects are kind of wonky, but still, one knee pad. Best I can do. All right, guys. If you like this, if you want me to shut up, just let me know. I'm gonna keep going on this train. I don't know what movie I'm doing next. I'm hoping it's something, I don't know. I'm feeling like I want to just do a different type of movie. I'm trying to stay away from horror since we're doing a bunch of horror right now. So, more sci-fi, more bullshit. Give me all that. This was a time travel movie. Oh man, that's what it was. It's a time travel was my jam, and I'm just like, not tasteful in my mouth.